It's Here First from IPR. Hey, I'm Megan McKinney. Candidates for several offices are making their last-minute pitches to primary voters. In today's episode, what they're saying days before the election. It's Friday, May 29th. Republican candidate for governor Zach Lane says he believes he can win the primary election on June 2nd. He says his fundraising lead in the GOP primary and a new attack ad from his main opponent, Randy Feenstra, show that he has the momentum to win. At a campaign event in Newton yesterday, Lane said his other goal besides winning is to change what Iowans are talking about on the campaign trail.
I believe that on June 2nd, we can come out victorious in the race, but also I believe that we've changed the narrative, and I hope that lasts, and I'm going to be involved in helping that last no matter what.
Lane, a businessman from Belle Plaine, says other candidates have started talking about issues he's prioritized. They include improving water quality, keeping kids from leaving Iowa, and lowering cancer rates. Lane says if he's elected governor, he'll work to defend the state from special interest. Incumbent Congresswoman Mariannette Miller Meeks is facing a challenge from David Pouch in next week's Republican primary in Iowa's 1st congressional district. Here's more from IPR's Isabella Liu.
Miller Meeks is running for her 4th term. She was unavailable for an interview, but in a statement she touted her record on health care. Miller Meeks pointed to a bill she sponsored aimed at lowering health care premiums. It was proposed in place of now expired Affordable Care Act tax credits, which she voted against extending. Experts said without the credits, premiums would more than double. David Pouch is Miller Meeks' challenger. He says he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act and focus on preventative care.
It needs to be centered on competition among providers and making certain that the American people are funded to actually be players in the game. They don't have any say right now.
Pouch criticized Miller Meeks for certifying the 2020 election results and for voting to create a commission to investigate the January 6th attack on the Capitol. I'm Isabella Liu, IPR News.
U.S. Senate candidate Josh Turek, a Democrat from Council Bluffs, says there's what he calls a farmageddon in rural America due to the failure of the U.S. Senate to pass a new farm bill and the trade war that's hurt corn and soybean farmers.
The word that I've heard over and over and over from our farmers is the word betrayal, is that they have largely supported Trump. And it's because of these tariffs that we have seen that have absolutely decimated and led our commodities prices to being upside down.
Turek says he would support year-round sale of E15. Turek made his comments at a farm south of Clarinda where members of a Farmers for Turek coalition gathered to endorse his primary campaign against fellow Democrat Zach Wahls. Turek is competing for the chance to face Republican frontrunner Ashley Hinson in the general election for the seat currently held by U.S. Senator Joni Ernst. Jim Carlin of Sergeant Bluff, a Republican who started his campaign for the U.S. Senate nearly a year ago, is running against Hinson in the primary. There are a total of 5 Republican candidates for governor who are making their final push for support before Tuesday's primary election. Adam Steen stopped in Northwest Iowa yesterday. IPR's Sheila Brummer reports from Lamar's.
Adam Steen says with his experience in business and as head of Iowa's Department of Administrative Services, he's ready to hit the ground running if elected governor.
So you're looking at somebody who will come to the table with solutions. Because I've been there, I've done that, I do my research, I understand what needs to be done.
Steen told a small group who attended a campaign event at the Blue Bunny Ice Cream Parlor in Lamar's his campaign needs prayers, votes, and donations. He says the government spends too much and screws things up. Plus, Iowa needs to focus on vocational education, and families should spend more quality time together. The other GOP candidates are Eddie Andrews, Randy Feenstra, Zach Lane, and Brad Sherman. The winner will face Democrat Rob Sand in the November election. I'm Sheila Brummer, IPR News.
And I'm Megan McKinney. It's Here First from IPR. You can find more primary election coverage at ipr.org. Stay with us here after the break. Regenerative farming practices coming up. It can be a tough sell to farmers facing thin profit margins, but farmer-led groups where farmers can share their knowledge can help. We're going to take a look at the movement in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. It's getting harder for farmers to make it to the next growing season. The Midwest has lost more than 30,000 farms since 2017, and the future of farming is more uncertain than ever. But a movement that's well underway in Northwest Illinois could completely change how farming looks. The Mississippi River Basin Ag and Water Desk's Jess Savage has more on what's called the farmer-led movement.
It's calving season for cow farmers. Greg Thoren tools around his pastures in an old pickup truck, looking for baby cows that were born overnight that need an identifying ear tag.
That little calf was born this morning, or last night, or... Hi, Tweety.
Thoren is what's called a regenerative farmer. He produces almost everything he needs to raise healthy cows, but he's even more focused on healthy soil. He quit synthetic fertilizers and pesticides cold turkey years ago. That's saving him a lot compared to conventional farmers.
That's the neat thing about regenerative farming is people just share things because nobody knows the exact answer to this.
Thoren's always trying something new on his farm to improve the soil. He loves sharing what he's learned with other farmers, which he gets to do with a group called the Joe Davis County Soil and Water Health Coalition. It works together to protect the farming community and farmland. They're all trying new things and sharing what they learned. This work is at the heart of the farmer-led movement. It's offering an alternative to intensive agriculture, which is driving soil loss, water pollution, and financial crisis for farmers in the Midwest.
Change is what needs to happen.
Beth Baranski is the organizing secretary for the coalition.
Farmer-led movement allows people to share the risk and minimize the risk.
Conventional farmers are facing intense pressures to just make it to the next growing season. Even if they wanted to try regenerative farming practices, razor-thin margins make it financially risky to make the switch. But groups like this call on farmers to learn from each other and share the load.
The key is the farmers on their farms, in their fields, figuring out the practices that will work for them to achieve these goals.
And while there are plenty of government programs and grants and incentives that could help in theory, Baranski says many farmers are skeptical about how well they actually work. She said that generally, they're more likely to trust another farmer.
Somebody coming from the corporate world or from an institution, even higher education, and saying this is what you need to do is not as effective as a neighboring farmer who has tried a practice and found it beneficial.
The coalition offers connection and tested solutions to some of agriculture's biggest problems, but it's a slow-growing movement, and so much of the industry is set up to work in opposition to the coalition's goals. Jonathan Kopis is an associate professor of ag policy at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. He says the industry doesn't give them the support they really need in this economic moment.
When things are tight and margins are tough, what we've seen historically is farmers tend to push it, right? You push the land. You try to put more land in production.
He says policy coming from the government should make conservation practices easier, so farmers don't have to choose between protecting soil and water and a profit. But he says policies act like a barrier instead. That makes it hard for farmers to move away from conventional practices.
In theory, farmers could just decide to put less nitrogen on. The risk of doing that is pretty significant. So we may make it worse that way, but we're also not addressing those issues. It's almost like paradoxes within paradoxes wrapped in irony.
The farmer-led movement does have some federal backing. The coalition got some seed money from an organization called the Fishers and Farmers Partnership, which uses Congress-appropriated money to support similar projects in the Midwest. So far, they've aided 70 projects with more than $2 million in funding. As Thoren turns his truck onto the dirt road towards home, he says even though farming this way isn't exactly easy, when you think about it, it's pretty simple.
It's not about the people. It's about the farm. It's about the land. It's about the soil. That's what I tell these young people coming with me. I said, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the soil.
Now the growing season is starting up. Farmers with the coalition are hosting field days throughout the summer to share what they've learned. From the Ag and Water Desk, I'm Jess Savage.
This story was produced by the Mississippi River Basin Ag and Water Desk and is being distributed by Harvest Public Media. Harvest is a collab of public media newsrooms in the Midwest and Great Plains, including IPR, covering ag, food systems, and rural life. I'm Megan McKinney. Thanks for taking the time to listen to Hear First from IPR today. I hope you've had a great week, a great month. It's the last weekend of May. Next time we talk, it'll be June on Monday. Talk then. Have a great weekend.